It's 5 minutes past 9, and it's a good morning. Good morning to everyone who just joined in. I am Mahlatse Sarati, an intern facilitator from Soweto. And in the session, this is basically the second session of our boot camp. And for those who didn't join us yesterday, we have sent communication via email as well as on Slack, where you'll get the links to yesterday's session as well as an attachment for the task that you were supposed to submit at 9 a.m. today. And then today's session is going to basically cover GitHub, but it's going to be a recap from GitHub, and then we're going to move on to CSS. So right now, I'm just going to hand it over to Dlozi, as he will be the one taking us through the GitHub recap. Dlozi, can you please share your screen? And you have the stage. Thank you.
Good morning. Welcome back, future web developers. Before we dive in, let's have a moment to recap on yesterday's session, where we explored HTML documentation designed to enhance information transmission, making the web an organized and accessible space. We also discussed how, as knowledge workers in ITs, developers play a crucial role in structuring and presenting information effectively. I will be recapping today for just a few moments on GitHub and some of the challenges that you guys might face. So we're just going to stick to creating a repo, adding, which is staging. Then we're going to commit. Then we're going to push to our local. We're going to push our local repo to our remote repo. Let me just quickly share my screen. May I please have screen sharing access, please? Thank you. Just briefly, so Git is a popular version control system. Let's remember that we use it to track changes and make changes to collaborate with people. We use our terminals, our CMDs, depending on the operating system you have, to interact with Git. You install Git. Right after installing Git, and then you create an account on GitHub. In order to check that your Git has been installed, let's see, let me just make this bigger. Is it displaying correctly, Mahlatse? Should I make it bigger?
No, yeah, it's fine like this. Thanks,
okay.
Tracy.
Okay, so just to see if you installed Git properly on your machine, you say git -- version. And then it tells you my version is 2.39.5. So obviously, for it to tell me what version it is, it's been installed. And then so once you have that, at the beginning, you have to, so you have your GitHub, you've created an account, so you have a username and that email. Now you need to configure, because when we stage, when we create our snapshot using commit, that our username and our email forms part of the information that creates the commit. So at the beginning, the first time you're using Git, just set it up on your system, set up your credentials this way. It's git config -- global user.name, then you put in inverted commas, you write out your username, and email, you also put the email. So what I would suggest is that GitHub username and email that you used, please use it here again. just so you don't have to keep track of different usernames or emails this time. And the email is very important because the email here and the email on GitHub has to match. The username doesn't have to match, but let's just make it all match for just ease of keeping everything above board. Okay, so now you have your folder and you want to turn your folder into a GitHub repository. This is the code that we use. So let's create a quick little folder. This is a command to make a folder. I think you can also use this command on Windows. I know you can use it on Linux. Let's call it recap git. All right, now let me cd into recap git. I'm going into cd change directory into recap. These are not git commands. They're just terminal commands. Change directory and make directory. So now I'm in recap. I'm going to move remember yesterday I made a favorite foods HTML. I'm just going to move it inside there. Move it, please. So if I say ls, you see it's in there. Now it's just a normal folder. So when I say git init, first, just quickly, let's go check it out on the files and folders. What you guys would say on Windows, your Windows Explorer, it's Finder here on Mac. So let's go into recap. So you can see recap only has this HTML. I'm not going to open it. It's the same one as yesterday. It just has this. Okay, so I'm going to just go shift control. So there's nothing else, right? So immediately I'm going to say git init. I'm changing this folder into a git repo. Remember, there are two repos. There's the local one, meaning the one on your machine. And then there's the remote one, the one on the cloud, which in what service do we use for that one? We use GitHub. There are many different types of services, cloud services that use Git. GitHub is one of the services that provides a cloud version of Git. The reason why we use them and not just a normal why you don't push to Google Drive is because the way that these services are created, they respect what Git is and how it works. They're designed for hosting Git itself. So you can use uh, GitLab, Bitbucket. They're many. So we are using GitHub. Most developers use GitHub. So you have your local repo, local here with me, my machine. Then you have your remote repo. So that's what happens when we push. You are pushing the things I have here onto my remote one, so that what I have here is also in my remote. That also lends itself to backing up. But let's finish this. I say git init. It tells me initialized empty, and it even turns it green for my VS Code. All right, let's look at inside. Look at that there. This is what it creates, an invisible folder. So right now I've switched on hidden items. If you are on Windows, you need to go to at the top to the view tab on your file explorer, and then you need to go to the show hide group. You click that, and then next to there's an option. It says hidden items. You must check it so that you can see hidden items. This is the folder that is created by git init. So now this whole folder, recap git, is now a Git repository. Don't get it confused with
Dozy,
it being, yes?
sorry for interrupting. Tanya says that you're moving a bit quick. Can you please reduce your speed?
Okay, I'm just trying to cover the time. So,
Okay.
yes. Um, So this is the folder we're in. This is the Git folder. So this is what is created by initializing this folder. So everything that we do is managed in here. So don't touch these things. You don't even need to go into it actually. Just leave the folder there to do its thing. It knows how to do it and it's been doing it well since they made it. But I just wanted to show you the folder. It creates the folder and all of our stuff gets stored in there, the changes and the whatnot. Okay, so then the next thing is, so let's look at status. Remember, this is a recap. I have already included in the Slack group resources, I've already included the proper original textbook from Git itself. The makers of Git have created a textbook for free. I have put it into, I didn't even give you guys a link. I put the actual textbook on Slack for you to go through. I have added a video for you to set up, and I've added another video to enhance your learning. This is just a recap. This is just a recap. You have more than enough resources at this point to make a success of Git. So let's move on. Let's see what's happening with our status. Git status. I'm on branch main. Yeah, there are no commits yet. And there are 2 files that are not tracked. Okay. So it's suggesting that we add them. So remember, adding is staging. This is the stuff we want to have in our snapshot. Remember, because this is a version control system, so we can have history. That's its ability. That's its superpower that it's giving us. We as developers want that because we want to be able to keep history of our coding of us so that we can go back, we are able to have different versions so we can work on other things while not impacting the main version. It gives us the ability to just experiment and work not only also with other people, but like to be able to work on the same thing but in a different space that doesn't affect like the part that is working. That's why we love Git. That's why Git is so great. Making changes, tracking changes, working, collaborating with other people. So now staging helps us to decide. As I am building my history, this is the first thing, this is the second thing, third thing, da 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 da. So now my history is, I'm building this history. If I was to go back, because that's how you are thinking to yourself, if I was to ever to go back, I want it to be like this so that I have the ability to go back to this certain time. That's why you would use staging. You have to use staging, but the way that you would use it by selecting what you want to stage at a certain time, you get to decide when you say git commit, which is the next thing, that whatever you've decided to stage will go into that snapshot. So now you're adding to the history. Your history is made up of snapshots created by git commit, which is the next one. So you now, before you take the snapshot, first, isn't it, you have to pose. You have to arrange yourself before you take a picture. That's what staging is about. You're saying this and this file come together. I'm about to take a picture. Yes, you can take pictures of all the files that are unstaged, or you can select to take certain. So yesterday we did the git add, and then we chose a file. Like today I would be choosing, but let's do all today. Okay, so we've staged that. So now that we're ready to take a snapshot. Okay, so we go. So now we're gonna take a snapshot, which is our git commit. And I've put this image here to emphasize what it's like. So it's a picture. So basically you're taking a picture and you must have a caption. So this git commit is us taking the picture. And this -m is our caption. So also the things that you don't see from that happening in the background, what is also added is your username and email. That's why we had to put that stuff there. So it would, if you hadn't put that stuff there, when you do this command, it warns you and it's like, you have to do the username and the email. You haven't done them because it cannot write the object without those details. Let's take a snapshot. Okay. Remember, your messages must be very descriptive because remember yesterday I just wrote a nonsense message like my first commit. And then when we went back, I couldn't remember, oh, what did I do in that first commit? That's why you have to write a good message. So feature, I'm adding a feature, save foods HTML, just a test. So that when I see, because as you're building your history, these commits, these snapshots, you're gonna have lots of them. Remember, we are knowledge workers. We are information. We're in the information technology field. Us communicating information, us being good communicators, is part of our not just of actually of our jobs. It's who you must be as an information technology specialist. You must craft good communication. So this is part of it. This is how it's going to show. So I've written my message and I commit. There are no errors. As you can see, blue, it's good. Git is happy. It's happy. If it wasn't happy, it would have made this red. This would be red. Okay, cool. So now let's look at our Git status. It says we're on the main branch. Yes, it also tells me here I'm on the main branch. It says there's nothing to commit, and it's not telling us about, remember before, look here, it was telling us about untracked files. Nothing is untracked now. Let's look at git reference log reflog get reflog reference log. Let's look at that. There we go. Here is our first, because we only have one. This is our first commit, our first snapshot. It even says here initial. And here's the message. And just from the message, I can tell, okay, it's a feature. So something new, a new feature was added. What type of it? Okay, it's favorite foods HTML, and it's just a test. Okay, I get what happened there, and immediately I can remember. Oh yes, I was doing that thing. All right. So now, before we push, because when we push, we're saying local things go to my remote place. Local stuff, this is happening on my machine. This is my local. This is my local repo. I want you now to go to my remote repo. Where's my remote repo? Online. So I go to Git because I don't have a repo for that. I'm gonna go to GitHub. See, we're on the internet. GitHub. This is where my remote repos I kept. Remote, it's not here. It's somewhere else. And where is that else? On the cloud, on the internet. All right, so I'm going to create a new repo. As yesterday I suggested, this folder name, let's go back. This is the folder name, right? We said recap-git. That's where, this is our Git repository on our local machine. I advise you, take this, excuse me, this name, exactly as it is. Say recap Git. You can add a description, you can add a README file. It's important to do a README file. The README file tells people this is what's happening in this is what the software on this repo is about. This is how you can install it. This is the technology stack that was used. We used this technology, we used that technology. Yes. And then you just click keep it public. If it's like private, you want to keep it to yourself, no one else can see it, then you can make it public. But if you're going to be sharing, and especially here because we have to check the repo, keep it public. And then you just create your repository. So now it looks like this. There's no code here, there's nothing. So now I want my code to be able to come here. So this code is going to be what I need to do. And I only do this for the first time. It's just to create that bridge, that connection between my local repo and my remote repo. You do it once. After that, you're just gonna just push, and you won't need to do it again. But every time you create a new repo, you have to connect it. You do it once at the beginning. Just like we did git init once, this one also we do it once. These other ones, as you've seen, we can do them many times. Git add, git commit, we do them many times. When we're creating branches, we do that as many times as we need to. So now we need to connect them. First, I'm going to need a token. So that Git can know that the person who is trying to connect this repo to that repo is me for security. We're just creating that secure pipeline. Okay, I'm gonna press on my icon. I'm gonna go to my settings. Next to try enterprise feature preview settings, clicking on settings. On the left hand side of all these options, I'm going to go down to the bottom, click developer settings, then it brings me here. Then I'm going to go to this option, personal, on the left. There's 3 options, 1, 2, 3, the last option. And I'm going to just choose tokens classic. I created a token yesterday, but I'm going to show you again in this recap, creating a new generate new token. I click again, token classic for general use. I click. All right, I have to authenticate myself. So then you would type recap git. You can decide when it expires. You can make it custom. You can choose one of these options. And then I'm going to select everything. When you are more comfortable with Git and GitHub, you can be more selective on what you want. For now, for this exercise, select everything. Okay, I'm not going to generate this because I already have one that I'm going to use. So this is good. And then you say generate. Please remember, it says here, make sure to copy your personal access token now. You won't be able to see it again. So here it is. Just click here and it's copied to your clipboard, to that liminal space where things that we copy are kept. Or you can just highlight it also if you're not comfortable with that and copy it that way. Control C. So you copy it. Cool, no problem. So now, in order for you to write that, to do that command to connect your local repo to your remote repo, git remote add origin. And then it's the URL, right? So this is how the URL should be. HTTPS colon / double / this was my token. You take your token, you put it there, my token. Then you say, even if my token, I doubt they use special characters, but let's say my token already ends in an at. You have to put in another at because that's how it goes. So I don't think your token is going to have a special character, but let's say it does. So then you'd put another at because that at, the first at, is part of your token. So this one doesn't, mine doesn't have an at the end. So I just say at github.com / what is my username? Remember, username, email. I said that, keep that. What's my username? / what is the name of the repo on Git that I'm trying, on GitHub that I'm trying to connect to? Luckily for me, I named them the same thing as the local one. So I can just say that's what it is. So now I take this body, I want to establish a permanent pipeline between my local and my remote. I say enter. And I got another blue. Blues all the way, good. If it's red, you know what red means. Red is bad. Okay, so now let's double check again. Let's go to the repo that I made. Repo. As you can see, there's no code. There's nothing here. I'm refreshing, nothing. There's no code here. But a pipeline has been established. Now, I need to push my stuff, this branch, to that repo. And you say git push origin main. Enter. Da 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 da. I get another blue. All of this lovely information. Let's go check if it went down the way that we think it should have went down. We're back here. Let's refresh. As you can see, here is my code. All right. Now let's do one more. So let's go into, sorry about that. I hope then noise doesn't affect you. Someone is vacuuming very loudly. Okay, let's go into favorite foods. Let's add another favorite food. Let's make it. I just want to make a change. I love ikota. So kota. Okay. So I've made a change. Get status says that you are on branch main. Your branch is up to date with origin main, meaning what I've got right now is up to date with origin main is my remote. Remember git push u origin main. Remember git remote add origin. Origin ilo ole. It's the remote. And then it says changes not stage. Oh, it tells me foods.html has been modified. So do you want to take a snapshot? Of course, I want to take a snapshot. But before I take my snapshot, I need to put things on stage. I need to pose, basically. I need to pose. So what is going to be posing? Who am I going to be taking a picture of? Okay, git add. Take a picture of fave foods, please. Git add. Another blue dot. We're good. And now, since we've done the connection, right? We've done the connection. We no longer have to say git. Okay, before we get there, let's take our snapshot. Git commit -m. All right. Let's say just a chore. I added an extra item to my fave foods called Goda. I'm trying to be as descriptive, but in a short, because I'm not writing a novel, but I also want to be as descriptive as possible using concise, basically. I want to be concise and succinct. Okay? And that's my snapshot. I just took a snapshot. Another blue, everything's going good. Now, since we have a pipeline, we no longer have to do git push u origin main, which we did before, remember? And then we went to go check and we saw our code. Because now we have the pipeline, certain things are assumed. So we no longer need to write this whole thing. We can just say git push, right? But before I do that, come, let's check. Let's quickly go online. Let's look at this favorite foods. Do you see here? It only has 3 things. Matlatsi, can you see? Is it too zoomed out?
Yes, it's a bit zoomed out.
Okay. How about now?
Yes, that's good.
Okay. So look at what we have right now at the moment. Ne? We have the old version. Coolio. Let's refresh just to double check. Still old version. No problem. Now we're going to push. Remember, I made a modification. I staged it, and then I took a snapshot of it. Git add, git commit, and now I want to push these changes to my remote, and I say enter. Another blue dot. All is good. Cool. Let's go and double check. Refresh. Looky there. We have got that. Let's come and check our commits. We have 2 commits. Let's look at them. There's the first one, remember, feature. This is its unique code. And then we have chore. This is its unique code. You can also see it here. Git reference log, git ref log. And you can see 1, 2, and here are our commit messages. All right. I think this is all you need right now to succeed. We will touch on more complex features at a later date. With this, you'll be able to do your work and keep track of your changes successfully. Please also refer to the content that I have provided. It goes in depth, especially the book created by the GitHub creators themselves. And it's easy to follow, and it's written simply for understanding. Thank you.
All right, for the next session, it's CSS. So basically, I can just say that welcome to the world of CSS. This is where design meets magic. So CSS is the secret sauce that transforms plain HTML into stunning visuals. So with HTML, basically, I take it as like a bone, and then CSS, I take it as a stylish outfit that you can wear, basically. So basically, you style your HTML using CSS to make it pretty. So the person who's about to take you through the session is Nokwanda. Nokwanda, you now have the platform to do so. Thank you.
Morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Here, let me just connect my mic so it could be clearer. Okay. Can you see my screen though?
I can see your screen as well.
Okay. All right. This microphone is playing hard to get. That's fine. Morning, everyone. My name is Nogwanda. So today I'm going to run you through the session on CSS. Basically taking from where it was left from yesterday and we're just adding style to it. Now, before we start with that, Matlati has already shared some insights of what CSS is, but basically it is just a styling. We are adding a personality to our HTML. So it stands for the cascading style shift. It is a language used to style HTML elements. So we did elements yesterday. So you could control things like colors, font, layouts, and just an overall appearance of our website. Right. So we're gonna go through this project. I'm gonna give you a few seconds. So guys, I'm very fast. I think I have ADHD. So apologies. Apologies if I move too fast. So I'm gonna clone this repo here. I'm gonna work on it. So this is just basic CSS. HTML, so I'm gonna clone it on my local machine. This is my terminal. So if you wanna code along, which is advisable, also do the git clone on your machine and clone this project so you could just work on it. Right, so it is cloned and it's in my local machine. Let me see where it is. Okay, so it's here. So after I did that git clone, I took it from closes GitHub repo to my local machine. And inside is just HTML, the README file, as well as just the PDF. So if I open it here, this is what we are going to be styling. So basically we did headers, tables, the list, the input images. So what we're gonna do now, we're just gonna style this. Very simple styling, we're not gonna do extra. All right, so we are working on that. So this is just the PDF of how it looks like. And we're gonna transform it together. So to open this, I'm gonna go to my Visual Studio Code. Visual Studio Code. All right, so I'm gonna say open folder. So it's empty now. I'm just gonna open that specific folder. Open folder. Okay, let me just quickly select that folder. And now my app is here. This HTML, this one, it is here. I can edit it. And as you can see here, it just runs underneath my folder files here, and that is the file. Okay, I don't like big fonts, but for you, I will do. Right. So on this session, we'll be adding style here. So let's go through before we do that. I hope you've cloned it and you've opened it on your Visual Studio as well. So before we start into doing the coding, let's just understand a few elements that are important inside our CSS. So we have what we call selectors. So basically selectors are like patterns that you use to select and style your HTML elements, and they help you style to a specific, they help you style specific to an element based on their name, their class, ID, and attribute. So if I go to here, these are my elements here, and this is what selectors, what we're gonna put inside those selectors. So the examples that we have like, for example, if you want to style a selector of an element, this is a P1. Let's say, do we have a P? Yes. So if I want to style this one, I can style it inside this element like that. And here, the selector underneath here is what you put the colors, the styling that you want. We have also a class selector. A class selector, you see it by a dot here. So for example, I call this a class selector box. So I'm gonna call, let's say wanna style this one, the whole entire thing. I'm gonna call a class name here and say box, and on my CSS, I'm styling that box there. But we'll get to it practically. And then there's an ID selector. You usually see it with a hashtag. Is it a hashtag? Hashtag and then the name. And then here you put whatever style you want to put. And then there's group selectors, which you're going to be using most because we have so many elements that repeat. For example, headers, header 2, there are other header 2 here. So if you style it using just a group selector, it will accommodate every style that you put here will accommodate that element. Like H2, if I say font weight bold, all my H2 will be bold. And then there's one for pseudo classes. You see them, like, let's say we have one element there, A or H2, and then there will be 2 dots there, and then you're gonna say hover, maybe if you wanna style the hover of it. So that is a pseudo classes, but don't worry, you get to it. So another basic thing that I want us to touch base is like common CSS properties. We have like box models, which are like margin, padding, border width. We have text styles, which will be like font sizes, the font family, text align, text decorations. We have colors and backgrounds. Usually call them with color, background color, opacity. And we have positioning, which normally have position, display, flexbox, and grid. Right. All right. So I'm gonna add the styling now. So there are 3 ways of adding a styling inside our HTML project. So what we have here, it is just HTML. Right, this project works on HTML, which is what it's running here. So if we need to add a styling, we need to have different ways to add a styling to it. There's an inline one, which I don't recommend because it just makes your code very clumsy. So you can just quickly add a styling like this to an element. There's an external, which is you put a style on top of your HTML. It is inside a style tag in the head. So you're gonna have style there like that. And then another way is external CSS, which is recommended. This one, you just create a separate CSS file rather, and then you just style whatever you want to style in that file, and then you have to reference it using this link and href, the style.css file that will just reference to that folder that you want to style it to. And we will be basically doing number 3, the recommended way, which I find it will be simple and very clean and easy to follow. And we'll do also.
Sorry, can you please zoom in a bit?
You guys have to wear glasses.
Okay, thank you. Thanks. Yeah. No,
Right,
zoom
yeah.
in again. Again.
Again.
Yes, please.
All right. Right. Yes, so I'm gonna do the third one. We're gonna do it in the external file, which is gonna have a separate file called styles.css. Right. Right. So I'm gonna go to my code. So inside my code here, I'm going to add a file, new file. Now, before we do that, let's just use the other ways. Let's just use the first one. So the inline one, if you were to do the inline one, we are going to style it inside an element. So inside an element, let's say I want to style this guy here. I will say style and say color. And then I change the color. So if I go to my project now and I say refresh, you see it takes that color there. So basically you can do it with any other element, font weights, sizes, background color, anything. So if I style this one, I'm gonna say style and say background color. These are the colors. Okay, see it changes there. So imagine if you have to do inline styling for everything there and it's just not one style, it's a long style. So your header will have a long code there, which is very clumsy. So I wouldn't recommend that. Let me just undo. Right, so we're gonna do it using XML class. So here I'm gonna say add a file. File name, I'm gonna call it styles.css. Right. So I've style.css, and now even if I just change anything here, it won't change here because I haven't referenced style inside my HTML, so it should know basically where it should go. So underneath my styling, let me first reference my style. So to do that, I'm going to call underneath the header, I'm going to call link, and I'm going to have real, which is a style. And then href style, so CSS. Close it. Okay. So with this line, and I'm saying that this style, that whatever I'm gonna do here, it should just talk to this guy here, my HTML. And then now, if we look at our HTML structure, Okay, let me just quickly refresh on our style, our HTML structure. So we have a header, which is basically have the title. We have a body, which has the header and the href, which are the links. And then we have a main, which have selectors. We have 2, 3, around 5 selectors. And it's about me, my interest, bucket list, contact me, media. And then lastly, we have a footer there, right? And the links are linked using href. And then about here, we reference this to say IG about. So basically this says that if somebody clicks here, it should navigate to the about page, about section rather. And if someone click this, it should reference to interest. So quickly look at it. So if I say about me, it takes me to about. If I say contact, it takes me to the contact. Bucket list, it takes me there. And our images are from a source in the internet. So I'm gonna also show you how to, if you wanna use an image that is inside your computer, how to reference that. I'm gonna add like one picture there. And yeah, so basically that's as simple as that, how our HTML is aligned. Right, so for example now, I have a body and I wanna style this entire body here. What do? I'm gonna use a class selector and call it body. This guy. All right, fine. I'm gonna call it a body. Let's say, let me add background color. Add hashtag color for I'm gonna use like quick things, like quick. Right, so it has changed the entire body of my CSS there, of my HTML. Okay. And then let's say I also want to change, yeah, let's just leave it to color for now on the body. Now we have section. Let's say I want to start my session, my sections. This guys. Okay, first I want to give it a spacing. I'm going to give it spacing around so it could breathe. I'm going to use padding and margin to a 20 pixel. Now if I refresh, you see now it's probably it's breathing around. Okay. And then background color, I want it to be different from my other background color. So I'm just gonna give it a white. All right, so they have the white space in them and then background. Okay, so I will go to my header. Let's say I wanna style my header now. Okay, so header, let me change my background color. I'm gonna use not black, red one. Okay. So if you're not familiar with like this type of colors, you can just use like colors like this, like you can just say black or any color there. But this colors you can get like on the internet, any color that you want. Okay, so I'm just gonna change it back to that one. That has two black. Okay, so color, if I can use a color like this, it will take the color of color this one, it will take the colors for a text. So my text currently they're black, but if I say color, whatever text in my header will change to white. Where's my header? So any this, it will change to white. They're very fresh. Now it is white. Okay, and then I'm just want to center it, so I'm just gonna say text align center, just put it in the center in the middle there, and also padding. I'm gonna add padding, and my padding I'll just use 20 pixels. So basically, we're not gonna be extra, but just to make it clean and very nice. So it looks better than it was before. Let me see if I could open this PDF here so we could see how it originally looked like on the side. Platoon, what are you doing? Right, so originally it looked like this, and with few lines, you are able to structure it. Like you could see, we're going somewhere, Okay, so my header, okay, I'm gonna leave it like this for now. The next thing, the nav. So we have the nav here, which is the navigation part here, which is just this part, right? So if you want to style it, you see we have nav and we have A. So you can style A, nav A, nav A. Okay, so I'm going to say nav and then space A. Okay, so I'm going to change its color of the text to P white. And I'm going to change like margin and have 15 pixel. Okay, so if I refresh it now, they kind of make so much sense now. Okay, and then we're going to move. So they have the underlining bit, the line on the bottom. To take that out, you can say text decoration to a none. I'm going to save it, and my underliner gone. And font weight, we have what we call font weight. I'm gonna go for bold. So now they are bold here, like that. Right. So another part, so basically I've covered, if you check here, we use the element selector and we called header, we call the nav, we call the body. And now I want to show you if you were to use a pseudo classes for my nav A's. So for that one, for example, if I want, when I click on this one, it changes color. So you could know this is what I'm highlighting. So I can say nav, still A, and then we're going to call what we call hover. So this one, it's what says when someone hover around it with their cursor, what should like it appears to be. I'm gonna take back my text decoration to an underline. I want it to be underlined, and the color. I don't want something fancy. Yeah, let me use this one. I'm gonna refresh. So every time you make a change, you save here, and then you refresh. So you see now, if I hover around it, it makes the background. It makes the underline, and also my hover that you can't really see the color. I'll change it later on, but you could see it changes the decorations there. All right, so let's move to main. So our main, we want to style entire main part here. And to style it, I'm going to call main directly like this. And just add a padding, 20 pixel. So we have what we call maximum width. So we're just saying how stretch out we want it to be maximum. So it shouldn't go over beyond this number. depending on whatever device someone looks at it. So background color, let me just use white. And yeah, let's use box radius. So box radius, I'll show you just now. Let me add extra lines here. So you see my main, I've added padding and the minimum width rather, how it should go over about stretch out. And here the border radius. So borders is the sharp corners around here. So if I remove border radius, this one will just be sharp and straight like that. So if you want to be fancy, and add a border radius like that. So I also want to add like a shadow around it, a shadow around here. So what I can do is just call box shadow. And give it shadow 0 here and then 10 pixels. Then RGB. Okay, also you can reference color with RGB as well. So I'm going to have this color. So this color that you see here is my box shadow. So you see it has that shadow around now. Kind of looks like a card. Okay, I'm going to leave my main for now like that. Okay, so now I want to style my headers. So headers that we have is this and that and that and that. So my header, I'm going to call H2 because those use H2. And then we're just going to have another color that will complement my black. So I'm just going to have something a bit orange like that. So if I refresh now, all my headers have changed to that color. Right. So from here, we are here, right? So on header, I'm just going to leave it like that. Let's see what's next here.
Nakwenda, we couldn't hear you for a sec.
What's this?
We couldn't hear you for a second there.
Really? Can you hear me now though?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Okay, it's fine. Right, so we have gone to main and my headers. I'm gonna go to section. We did section actually. We're gonna go to, let's say you wanna style just this part. Now we style sections, but you can also style a section differently from what other sections that are there. All right, hope that makes sense, but I'll show you just now. Okay, so we are going to use, let's go back to our note, a class selector, this part. To use a class selector, let's say this is what you want to style and it's different from other sessions. We are going to call class, and I'm going to call this about container. So we're gonna make it like, we're gonna name it in a way that the next person knows what style this is. So I'm gonna call this about container, right? So about container is not registered here, so I'm gonna register it here. So I'm gonna use a dot and say about container and have that. So inside my about container, I'm gonna use display. I use flex, and then I'm gonna align my item to center. And also add heading. Now, if I refresh my about is like this now, because I use flex, so everything will be in one line. And then let me also have a border radius here. Border radius. Okay, you can't see it because the background color it's basically the same. I'll just add a shadow. Let me just copy this shadow guy. Now you can see it there. So on my about, right? On my about, I want to add an image. Okay, so I want my header to stay on top, so I'm gonna remove it from this class styling. So this styles everything there. So I'm just gonna cut it out. And then have a div container separate that will have that style. And then I'm gonna have this paragraph cut, put it here. So about can be uniform to the other headers there. Okay, so when I add an image here, I don't have Rose's selfie. Let me see if I could find a sample image. Okay, I'll use this one. Okay. So as I've said, with the image part, yesterday we just referenced using image from the internet. Let's say now you want an image from your own PC. I'm gonna add a folder here called assets. Inside that folder, I'm gonna put any resources like images or videos that I want. So I'm gonna just copy an image from my downloads and just paste it here. So if you check here, under assets, we have that photo there. So how do I call it here? I'm gonna go to my about. Still gonna use image. And we're gonna call source. Because I said source is not as a student representative or council. So source is where it comes from. So I'm gonna say it's from my assets and then the name of that for that image that I wanna call. So this one is from my local machine, the other one's from the internet. I'm gonna save it. It will look very big because it's not styled. Yes, so it's like that. So I would style it. So I'm gonna show you how to style it. So we have this and we have image, how to style that. I'm gonna go to my CSS, and in my CSS, I will say the style is inside a div like this. And I just wanna style image. So when I reference this one, it will just style this guy here. So let me go back. So I'm just, first thing we saw the width was too big. So I'm just gonna have it on 200 pixels. And then my height, because I wanted to make it round. So my height and width will have to be the same. So if I wanted to, because now it's a square, I want it to be round. So I'm gonna use border radius and say 50%. So if I refresh it now, you will see now it is not quite circle though. But border radius 50%. And then we're gonna say, let me just add a box shadow again. Box shadow. Let me keep my box shadow the same. Maybe add opacity to the opinion here. Okay, there's a shadow. And okay, let me say, so now it looks a bit stretched out. You wouldn't really see that stretched out. So if you want your picture to be not stretched out, you're gonna use box object fit. And there's cover, contain, fill, say cover. So any size image that I put here, it will always take, like, it will always look clean and not like compromised. Okay, so if you want to add like a little bit of transition, you can do it. Let's say when I add a transition and when I add it to transform and I want it to ease out. And then when it is out, I want it to have a shadow. So I'm gonna say box shadow is out, like that. Save. I should be dancing now. Better save this. It's a bit shy. Did we do box shadow, hide, object feed, transform, is out, is in out, box shadow, 3 seconds. Okay, I'm not sure what. A box shadow. Let me add 5 pixels for this one. Let me just style the, oh no, we need to have it in a hover. So we did hover for our nav A. So now we're gonna do it for image. So to do it for image, from image, I'm gonna call hover, hover. Okay. So it is transitioned out. So for when someone selected, I'm gonna transform again here and then scale it to 1.1 and then add box shadow again. Box shadow, let's have it on 3. So now it is out and is in like that. And then let's go to, what can we style now? Let's go to P. So for P, let me just use another way of styling. I'm gonna style it just here. So I'm gonna call style. And I'm gonna have it to have a width. So this one is just close to this one. So I want this to be a little bit small on the width, the size here. So the width, I'm gonna call it 50%. So it will take 50% of this cut. And then, so now it has a 50% of this cut, and now this one can breathe and just take its own 50% share. All right. Okay. Let me just add padding or margin. Or I can go to style. So my container, this one, I want my 2 elements to have a gap. Here, I can go to my about container, back to my about container and call gap. I'm gonna give it 20 pixel. If I refresh, now it has a gap in between. Okay, align things, center, border radius, box shadow, display. All right, that looks a bit fine for me. So our about, just gonna leave it like this, and then I'm gonna go to my interest. So interest is a bit tricky because we have interest in list. So we have UL, we have LI. So we're gonna style this guy here. All right. So on my UL, remember the UL, pass like that. And I don't want it to have like a bullet point here. So to remove the bullet points, I'm going to say line style to none and just remove padding a bit. So if I refresh, it doesn't have my bullets. It doesn't have bullets there. And then now, if I want to style the list, each list element there, we just first add padding. And background color. I'm going to use a good ones. And then color, color to white. Let's see. And then margin. See if you can get margins fine. Even if you don't have a style, your CSS will look good. And then your project will look good. So I'm just gonna add radius around it. Now my list look like this. Simple. Okay. As I've said, I won't go a little bit extra. I'm gonna leave the creativity to you guys. Okay. So the next part that we have, I'm just gonna roll to, we have a bucket list. Bucket list is a table. We're gonna add a little personality to our table. Okay. So currently it is just a basic table. So I'm gonna call table here. Table. So I'm gonna have width to 100%. So it could take up the whole width of this container here. So if I refresh, see now it has taken up the whole container. And I will say the border collapse. I'm going to collapse and have a margin top styling. Okay, so now just one lines. Okay, and we have, let's go back to our element. We have table, we have TR rows, and we have headers, and we have TD, right? So you already know that headers is the items there, reason, status, and then our data inside each table column there. So if we style it, and I start with table, we're styling headers and we're styling TDs. So I'm just gonna have a border. Width of the border will be 1 pixel, solid, and then I have that offish white. Heading, spacing, very important. I'm gonna give it 10 pixel. And my text align. We use center. Let's just use left now. All right. See, now I've added spacing. It kind of looks like it makes sense now. So I've said spacing is your best friend. Okay. If I now style my headers separately now, I'm going to change the background color to take our primary color and the text in it to be white. Right now, it just makes a lot more sense that this is a header and we have that. Right. Well, I'm gonna leave it like this and leave the creativity to you. So we have the form. Now, before I do the form thing, can I just take 2 minutes break? 2 minutes, Matlati. Then I'm gonna do the form. In the meantime, I hope you have cloned and you're following along. I'll just leave it here for 2 minutes for you to catch up. Right, so we're gonna do the form. So form looks like this. You wanna add some personality. Okay, let's see how we structured our form. So it's form, label, input, right? So I'm just gonna call form first. Change background color. What's that number? All right. Padding, we change it to 15 pixels. And also give it a border radius. That border radius. Okay, refresh. Right. So my form changed like that. So now I'm gonna change input. Okay. Let's see if it will do. So input, I'm gonna change width to 100%. So I could take the whole width of my thing there, right? We've mastered that. Give it a padding, give it a margin. 0, and say 5. Border radius, solid, border, solid, and border radius. We just keep it to a 5. Right, so now my inputs kind of make sense. Yeah, move from input. So let's see our button. So our button here, it's an input. So how do we style it? Say input, type, square brackets, we say type. Submit. Okay. So our background color, I'm gonna use this guy. And then color to white. I'm gonna save. Okay, so if you check, it has a little border here, which is grayish, you won't see. I'm gonna remove it like this, border, and then refresh. Now it's nice. Spacing, heading, space on top, space at the bottom. And we haven't used font size, so I'm just gonna use font size. Let me see how big that is. Let's say 2. Let's give it 1.5, 4. Okay. Right, that is our button. Okay, so we want to say now when someone hovers around, what should we do? For buttons like this, call it like you called it there, then you say hover. I'm going to change just the background color to take. And take this guy. Right. So, okay, let me change the size of my input to 80% because it's overlapping. There we go. Oh, we have a text area. So if you want the text area to take the same style as input, you can say comma, text area, and our text area there has the styles. All right. So on our HTML, that is our form. Form, the bucket list. All right. So we're gonna move to the media. Yeah, Lucy has a picture and some video there. We want to add some personality. I want to add a personality to it. So it could look some glam style. Okay. So for media, let's see how we can do that one. HTML. Okay, so we just have images and videos roaming around. So we can have image. Right, so it will take any image that is in the HTML, but not this one, because this one is inside its own container, which has the style, so it will ignore this one. But any image that is around, it will take that styling. So I'm gonna style that image here. Okay, so I'm gonna use a display block. Let's say width 80%. But maximum width should be 5 pixel. And I add a border radius, 15 pixel. My box shadow. So box shadow, where are we? For now, see how a little bit elegant it gets. I wanted to do this as well when I hover around it. So I'm gonna have transition thing in here. And then I'm gonna have image over transform, just like the other guy. All right. Let's go for the video one. I'm gonna call video directly like this. I'm gonna use display block. And heading. Got a margin. And we're gonna take some of, actually all. Okay, we'll get back to it. So I want to add more videos for Josie. I'll add more videos. Here's what I like. And then breaking a line. Let's say, I'll just add 4 images. And videos. So if you check here, those already have height and weight here. I can remove it. So I can take my CSS style and then I can duplicate my videos. 3 maybe.
Do you want more link? Are you fine?
Yeah, you can send the link from Pixels.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
And then we are going to have our image. That's it. Our images. Media. Wonderful. Okay. What I'm going to do is from my text here, I'm going to have a container that will have the entire thing. So I'm going to copy all this. It's cut. Paste it here. I'm going to style this and call it media container something. And then let's go back to our image. Image. Yes, there's no much in change the pixel also. Right. A whole lot of sense now. Okay. With videos with margin, give it old. Fresh. Now they're centered nicely. Okay. So before I just move to the other part of styling it properly. Okay, let me just style the footer. Let me just style footer. Footer is the last part here. It's just a footer with a paragraph. So I'm gonna call footer and align it. Center, background color, heading. And just give it a margin top, space on top to the pixel. So refresh it. We have it there. Okay. Right. So another thing that I want us to do is responsiveness. Okay. Before I start, does anyone knows what responsiveness mean? Like when they say this website is responsive, what does it mean? You can put it on chat while I add closest images. Responsive. What do you think it means? Like, we're getting the same thing, yeah.
Okay, Itumeleng says that it means it can cater for all screen sizes.
Yes. Caters for different sizes. So I'm gonna show you just now.
You also have a hand from, okay. You can just type in the chat rather than raising your hand, please.
Because we're doing animal farm more. Okay. Did we get a response, Matati?
No response. It's just Itumeleng who answered.
Okay, but Itumeleng is spot on. Spot on. Okay, so
Karabo
if
says, okay, Karabo says it means that the website can cater for different screen sizes.
yes. So if now I change my device, now this is what is desktop. So here are my devices. So if I change, let's say someone uses an iPhone SE, this is how they'll see the website. Right. If they're using Samsung SE, some of those things are responsive because I use the 100%. Remember, I use 100% here. I think here as well. Yeah. So if someone uses an iPad, okay, so the different ways of doing your website to be responsive. We have media query, way to do it. A media query, you just specify the width, the maximum width of your display. So if it's in this media query, it should change color to blue, whatever. And then we have we're using flex, yes, flex units. What I normally used. So if I didn't use percentages and I said 80 pixels on some of the things, if people change their devices, it will always take like 80 pixels. So with 80%, it says if the phone is an SE, it will take 80% of that box using whatever device size that it is. And then thirdly, we have the flex box and the grid layout. So flex box is best for a one-dimension layout. So we use display to flex and then just adjust things to be centered. And the grid layout, you use a grid, display grid, and you say grid template columns and you say how many should repeat. Okay, the columns, how they should repeat them. Well, these are three basic ways of doing it. I will try to accommodate, I've already accommodated the 100%, flex unit, and now do column, the grid, and use media query. So if now, I'll show you a quick example where I use a percentage. So if here I say 20 pixels, save it. And say, let's see how small it is. even if you change it to a different size. Let's say, let's say I force it to follow, to just have, let me do 500. If I force it to be a full like this with using pixel, if someone changes a device, it will fail. Let's say an iPhone already. One equally. Let me use the SE. So it will do that because now it wants to accommodate the 6 area. So this is not responsive anymore because now this is looking at a 500 pixels, and then now your website looks like this. But you were developing using this side screen, and then now you send your code to someone else and they open it with your phone and it does names there. So that is, say 80%, we're using the 80%, it will take 80% of the screen size like that. Right. Now we're gonna move to blah, blah, blah. Video media. Okay, let's try the media, the grid one. So grid, I will just get this guy, style this class, and the class I said we use a dot and the name there. The same. Okay, so I'm gonna say display a grid. And I'm gonna say grid template column. And I'm gonna use a repeat to an auto like this. Minimum max 200 pixel autofill. Okay. And I want my photos to look like how the Instagram looks like. So I'm gonna have a gap in between, expand the gap, and of course you need padding. Okay, let's see now. Refresh. Right, so you see now it's just in columns like this. So if I do this, you see it will go straight, like it accommodates anything. Let me say responsive. If ever I change the sizes, it just accommodates and keeps your styling and layout as clean as possible. What happened to my video guy here? I think I referenced wrong. I'll fix it. All right, but they're too far apart. They're too far apart. Let me do that. Much better. Okay, so I will continue styling my grid again. I want when I click on, oh no, we did that. Media query, okay. Object feed, no, it's fine. Right, so if I do, let me try to style the whole thing. Just thinking, no, that'll just repeating. Okay, so if I want to do a media query, I'll say add media, and then say max width. So max width, it says if the width exceed this number of maybe 600 pixels, then it should look like that, like whatever I'm gonna put here. So if it maximum to this one. I want like my media display, this media container. We call it media container. To change the size, media container, where is it? Oh, I'm going far. To change the minimum here, let's say I wanted to change it to 150. And okay, this is not normal. People don't change colors of the background when the phone is like this. I'm just showing it for purpose of a demo. Okay, so now if I say inspect, we said 600, né? Let me just try to find 600 here. You see, my background changed because it's 600. We said if it's maximum width of 600 or less, it should media container should take the styling. So it has the styling. So if it's above, it will take whatever styling is on top. So if it's less, the background is like this. Okay, nobody does this when I remove this one. But when I leave the media query like this, and our about is not given. So our about, if I do this, you see, now it just compromises the image. Look at the image, the lady becomes Humpty Dumpty, the egg. So I'm going to say media. Why am I thinking about media? I'm going to say about container. So I'm going to change, say, about container. If the width is like this, can you please change the flex direction? So flex direction to be a column. So flex direction could be either a row. So we have a row. If it's small, I wanted it to be a column, whatever is inside this container. And I'm going to align everything to center. Let's see. So now, if it's less than 600, see that magic. Now my photo goes to on top and the text on the bottom, because now it's no longer a row, it's a column, which is much good to look at, easy in the eye. Yeah. And also this text here, I think I took a percentage. As you see, it also like kind of changes as I'm changing my devices. So if we look at my P on top here, it's on a 50%. So if I change this to say, you know, I take a static number, 50 is small. If I say take a static number, it stays as static as that, even if I change. And it look at how it now can accommodate anything there. So if I say 250, it just refuses. It says I'm just 3 lines, and that's all I can take. Hence now using percentage as well for responsiveness is very helpful. Now if you do that, it dances to the pianos. Right, let's see. Covered responsiveness, media query, styled everything there. Okay. What time is it? All right, cool. Footer, text error, we did the tables, painters, main. See the body. Body can also add font family from the body. I don't know this font, but hey, can add margin to a 0 and a padding. So 0, background color. You can also change the text with that. Okay. So we haven't touched the HR. You can also change the HR, the line that we had yesterday. Could be height. Let me just change the background color. There's not much to change for on the line. It's really not much to change. So it doesn't even have that effect. Okay, so you see my font now has changed. The font has changed. All right, so that's how you add a font. This font, you can change it to any font of your liking, but make sure it's readable. Okay, let me just change the sky. So if I want to change a specific thing inside a paragraph, I can add an element can have a baby. So we have H1. I can add a span element. We have those in army. Just gonna copy it, paste it here, and just quickly style it here. And say color. I want our orange. David. Oh, you're out. No, you are out. So we have it. So you have that. Can change an element, can put an element inside an element, change its color, changes its own attribute CSS, which will be different from what we have styled our H1. Okay. So we can also change the background color. The color is I hover around our A, so I have to go get an A. Mhm. Here we go. Right. I think it looks better than what we had before. So before we started, we were like this. And now we are here. This is giving me, I don't know, there's so much spacing around this. Okay. I don't know if I should touch anything else, but basically these are the basics. But if you get this right, yeah, mostly it will be now up to you how you personalize it, your styling. So usually what I do, I get like inspiration from Pinterest. So Pinterest is not just about fashion. You can also have web design inspiration, web designs, and you just can like find inspiration around here, how you want to style it, colors to use. Also use Dribble. Um, and you can find anything. You can search under the landing pages. You can find any inspiration there. You can say profile page, profile. Is it a profile page? Profile page is different. And yeah. Web design. And you can like pick an inspiration that like talks to you, your styling, like this one, and then just check how they lay out things. Well, unfortunately, they won't give you a code, but you'll have to code it yourself. But just for inspiration and see what works for you. For images, you can get free images from Pixel. Very nice, high quality free pictures. Very nice that you can use. You can look for videos or images. Okay, also like horses, and you can just download it here. We also have Pixabay. Pixabay. They also have like nice pictures as well, free to download. Let's say you like this one, you can download it here and put it under your project. So usually Pixabay and Pixels, they're free to use. So free to use stock is, it means you can use it on your project. So you can't just Google any image and put it on your project because of copyright. So you need to make sure that you use websites that are free to use. And put it on your project. So free to use like this. Right. I'm missing anything. Do we have any questions, Matlati? We can have like 15 minutes left. Yeah.
Currently, there are no questions.
I wasn't expecting one.
Why? Okay.
But CSS is pretty much straightforward and it's personality based, you know.
Yeah. Unless they do have questions, they can just raise their hands and ask
Yeah.
their questions.
Or put it on Slack, then tomorrow might have 15 minutes to cover it. Yeah.
We have one question from Frank.
Frank.
Okay, yes, Frank?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so I just wanted to understand something because I've always I'm kind of struggling with this concept in a sense, right?
Mhm.
How much can you do with CSS in a sense of I feel like sometimes there's a fine line between what JavaScript can do compared to what CSS can do. And we tend to ignore the capabilities of what CSS can do in terms of animation and design capabilities. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah. You can still with JavaScript, things that you can do with styling is just like, as you said, animations. But there are other things that CSS can do for animations as well.
So essentially, if I get that good on CSS, I'll be able to do maybe 60% of the things that JavaScript can do, but using CSS. Is that the case?
Sorry, can you repeat the question? You can?
All right. I'm saying, can you hear me?
Yes.
I'm saying if one gets that good on CSS, can they do animation to a point where it can act like CSS can do 60% of the animation that JavaScript would normally do?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right, thanks.
Right.
Okay, thank you, Frank. We have a question from I don't know how to pronounce this name. Pixneo. Yeah. You can unmute your mic.
Hello.
Hello?
Can you hear?
Yes, we can.
Oh, my name is Piaka, As
Oh, okay.
you were struggling with that. So I have a question. I see you keep changing screens, on your browser. Can you enable that on any
Sorry?
browser? On the top of your browser, there's
Mm.
options to change screen sizes,
Yeah.
right? I haven't seen that on mine.
Okay, so you right
Can I
click
be able?
on your browser. Do you have your browser open?
Yes.
Right click,
Let me open.
inspect element.
You right click and then
This inspect element.
go to um, no, I can't see that.
You can't see inspect element
No,
when you right click on
can't
that
see that
browser.
option.
What do you see? Which browser are you using?
Browser, Chrome.
Sorry,
I'm using Chrome.
Chrome. Chrome. Do I have Chrome? Okay, Chrome or inspect. You click on inspect.
Inspect.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Oh, man.
Can you just tell me and then I'll try it on my own after the class is done
Yeah.
because it's taking a lot of time.
Hi. Gosh, I'm having challenges with my sound. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. No, you can just tell me and then I'll try it on my own after the class is done. Because I'm trying right
Okay.
now. I'm not sure if
Oh, okay.
it's
Just
working.
2 seconds. 2 seconds. Your microphone is working. Now let's again is say something.
Yes.
It's
So on Chrome, when you inspect, do you right click and then you select inspect? It doesn't have element on it when you're using Chrome. I don't know if she can hear
Doesn't
me or
have
not.
one?
It's written in inspect, not inspect element.
Okay, okay, thank you.
You got it.
Um,
Hi, Matlati. Sorry about
Yes, no
that.
con.
yes, I got it.
Okay, thank you. So you
Got it.
sorted, right?
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
She got it, Nukwanda.
Good news. All
Okay,
right.
one last question from someone, which is Hector. Yes, Hector.
Hi.
Hello, we can hear you.
Yes, I just wanted to ask on the media, when you add a picture, does it have to be on the folder that you created for the task?
Hi, Mahlatsi.
Nokwanda, did you get the
Did you
question?
get that?
Can you please repeat, Hector?
On the multimedia,
Mm.
let's say you are including a picture that
Hector, if you're
you
talking, we can't
already
hear
have.
you. Yes, Vukona.
I think the problem.
Yeah, their mic seems to be bad, but I think what they're trying to ask is if you're trying to insert an image or maybe a video in your project, does it have to be in the same folder as the actual project?
Yes, it has to. Um, same folder as the project, so you can't reference something that is on my desktop and you call it here. It has to be inside your project. So this is my folder for the projects. I open just this one folder, then I insert the folders that are connected to this project, and I'm able to call it here to reference it. So you can't have a picture that is on your file document somewhere under my desktop and call it here. It won't reference. I don't know if that was the question.
Are you covered, Hector? Are you okay?
Yes, yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Nokwanda, I guess we are done with the session. There are no more questions
Mahlatsi?
for you. We are done with the session. There are no more questions for you unless you want to cover something. Nokwanda, can you hear me?
Seems like she has briefly left.
Okay.
She might also have network issues.
She might have network issues on her side. Okay, no problem. We have reached the end of the session. So if you have any questions, you can direct them on Slack, and then you will receive communication from us via email as well as Slack. We'll also give you a task as well to complete by the end of today. So thank you so much for joining us, and we hope to see you in the next session. Okay, Mthokozisi. Yes.
Okay, hello everyone. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, I'm so sorry about that, Mahlatsi. I just wanted to get some clarity regarding the tasks actually, you know?
Okay.
Because earlier on, like regarding yesterday's task, it was mainly about HTML, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I heard people asking, would see if they went beyond, like if they added some CSS and whatever, and you guys actually encouraged it. So
Yeah.
for us who maybe strictly focused on HTML, like because that's what we learned, and we just did that, will we be penalized?
No, you
Uh,
won't be penalized.
oh, okay. Thank you so much, man.
Okay, no problem. Thank you. Okay, Nyakalo. Yes, Nyakalo. Nyakalo, yes. Okay, I don't know what's happening with Nyakalo. Can we move on to Ntobeko? Yes,
Hello, can you
Ntobeko.
hear
Yes,
me?
yes. Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, yeah. So I had a bit of a problem today in the morning submitting my assessment from yesterday. So I think I'm going to try to submit it now again, if that's allowed, or should I wait for this assessment and submit together?
Can you submit it together as one?
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Vukona, I saw your hand up.
Yes, it was actually regarding the project because it seems like there's a lot of people on Slack sharing their grievances in terms of being able to submit. So it seems like you are suggesting that they combine into one. I'm not really sure how the project is structured, but I think that answers that question.
Okay, so the project is structured as a one-page portfolio, right? So, you know, with HTML, you just have like it's basically like a structure, right? And then with CSS, that's where you can now align things properly, and then you can style it better so that it looks like the template that we gave them at the moment. So I think if ever they submit it together, it will make sense because it will also have styling on it.
All right, cool. I think I
Okay.
need to add that on Slack then.
Okay, no problem. Okay, does anyone have a question again? Oh, Nyakalo, yes, you can talk. Nyakalo, if you're speaking, we can't hear you. Right, Nyakalo is shy to talk. Moving on to Karabo. Yes, Karabo.
I was asking because of some of us have already submitted the task that Josie gave us. So we wanted to even add the CSS. So can we retrieve our repositories and work on the CSS? If
You can always do more. That's what we encourage you to do, right? So if ever like let's say yesterday you styled it and it looks a certain way, and then today you just wanna add maybe animations, then you can do so.
okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Is that okay? Is that okay, Nokwanda?
Yeah, actually, that's the task. So you're
Okay.
still working on that project, and now you're just pushing the stylings. So it has to be responsive as well.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Right.
Thank you, Karabo. Leon,
Hello. Am I audible?
yes, you are.
Okay, awesome. So I wanted to ask about like the deadlines. Are they actually deadlines? Because like for example, yesterday's task was supposed to be submitted by 9. I did submit mine yesterday and I tried opening the link again in a new private tab and I saw that it was closed, but I guess people can still submit. So I'm just wondering if like is there an actual deadlines for these tasks?
Yes, there are deadlines for the tasks so that we know exactly what you're lacking with, right? So that's why it's of vital importance for you to submit it before the next session.
Okay, and follow-up question, is there gonna be feedback to everyone who submits, or is it like for you guys to make a decision about like the bootcamp at the end of this bootcamp assessment?
Nokwanda, can you please take this one?
Um, yeah, there will be, but I don't think it'll be on one by one. But then we'll look how everybody's level is with their submission. And yeah, but at the end, that will evaluate your project and see if you qualify for Core Tribe using that project. So it has different skills in it.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Leon. Frank?
Okay, just one question, just to add on to what was just asked. So I do gather that we'll be doing assignments like on a every time we have a session, right? But I just wanted to find out if you guys know if are we going to be having like these exercise assignments and then have a big assignment later which tests everything that we've learned and puts everything together, and that's what we are going to be judged upon when being selected for the boot camp, or it's just a general thing to see that okay, this is where you are, and if you are proficient in, let's say, 4 or 5 languages based on how you are implementing it, is that how you guys are going to be grading us?
Okay. Yes, you're going to have these tasks, right, after each session. And then at the end, there is going to be a final project. And then, Nokwanda, can you please elaborate more on that?
Yes, so now we'll go through like tomorrow JavaScript, then we touch base on Node. So all of these different modules we need to evaluate you on. So we're gonna evaluate each of those projects. And at the end, we'll have like one final project that we'll have to do as well. We'll also contribute a percentage to an overall judgment.
Okay, is that going to be are we working on a because since you mentioned Node, is that going to be, I'm assuming it's not going to be a static website, it's going to be a dynamic one for the final project?
Yes, we might mix everything for the final one.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, Frank. Thank you, Frank. Okay, one last question from Jan. Yes, Jan. Jan, if you're talking, we can't hear you. Hello, Jan. Okay, we can't hear you, Jan. Can you please type on the chat? But yeah, unless you can just send us a message on Slack, and then we can answer you via Slack. But we have reached the end of our session for today, so we're looking forward to what you guys can do at the end. And yeah, you'll receive your task today and the links for the videos of the session, and then we will communicate with you via Slack. Thank you so much for participating in today's session, and see you in the next session. Thank you. Bye. Enjoy the rest of your day.